Welcome to It's Your Time to Shine. I'm Christoff J Weihman, your host, America's favorite five-star customer experience expert, and the creator and producer of Engage the Stage, becoming an even more confident, effective, and impactful speaker, and the producer of the Ultimate Speaker Competition. This podcast is where we interview heart-centered leaders who are making a difference in the world by shining their light. And I am super excited today because my guest is the one and only Yana Gotov. Say hello, Yana.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Christoph, for having me here.
You're welcome. Before we begin, let me just share a wee bit about Yana. She is a certified health and life coach. She was born in the Ukraine. She now lives in Las Vegas with her husband and her two kids, where she has been for 15 years. Her teachings are transformative, empowering, and paradigm breaking as they take people on a journey of deep self discovery and self realization. And I had the pleasure of meeting Yana a year ago, or less than a year ago, at our Ultimate Speaker Competition. She was in the audience and she came and introduced herself to us. And recently, she graced our stage being one of our speaker competitors, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But welcome, Yana. And I'm going to ask you a question, just straight right into it. How do you shine your light?
Well, I think it's a important work of all of us every day, including myself. And you know, it's not easy, but it's not hard. It's just natural. We are the light. And basically, when nothing on our way, such as bad habits and some other obstacles, limiting beliefs, then the light is natural. And my personal light, I'm helping people I'm unlocking them. So I'm basically helping them to decode themselves and getting access to their soul, to their light, to their gifts and talents. Yeah, so if people fully committed, if they're consistent, if you know I think the most important is, right, to ask the right questions to yourself. When the right questions being asked, the right answers come over.
Asking the right questions, and that leads us to getting the right answers. So, how long have you been a health coach and a transformative leader? How long have you been doing this?
Christoph, I think all my life.
Okay.
As a child, I remember myself. I've been reading a lot of psychological, like philosophy books, and I was always around those heart centered people. And one of my greatest mentor was my mom.
Your mom. Okay.
My mom. So she was simply shining her light, and my only question was how, how she were able to do that, because she was fighting cancer for 13 years. And
Hmm.
even though going through this type of challenges and pain and suffering, she were able to be the happiest, the brightest, the greatest, person, not just for herself but for people around. So she being such an example for me. And then I had my challenges, I had my story, I had my obstacles, and I had my coma when I didn't feel anything, I didn't ask myself the right questions. And only uh, after she passed away, I woke up, and I told myself that I have to commit my life, I have to be committed to wake myself and be the light for others. And this is my mission. And I truly enjoy this path, this journey, because every day I able to uncover new me,
Hmm.
new sides of me, new abilities of mine, new gifts that I came to this earth with, right? I able to shed the darkness of myself. I able to become a better version of myself. It's not easy but again, it's not hard. It's fun.
It's not easy, but it's not hard if you know your calling and the path that you are on. How old were you when your mother did pass?
I were 28.
Okay, so you were not a child, and you were living in the United. So let's go back. You were born in Ukraine, which is an area in the former Soviet Union, correct? And we're not going to get into what's going on in the news right now. That's a different podcast. That's not this one.
Absolutely.
Uh, you were born in Ukraine. How old were you when tell me what life growing up in Ukraine was like for you?
Uh, like as I say, I had a pretty challenging childhood. I've been pretty traumatized as a child, and I had a series of child abuses, and I was very close to suicide.
Oh,
The life didn't mean for me as much as it does right now. So, but this deep deep voice inside of my heart, this calling within me, was keeping me moving forward. So I knew that, there's not a time for me right now. I just know, regardless of what is going on around, I have to move forward. Now, the architect. So, and my architectural degree brought me to United States.
okay.
And
And
now
how old were you then? So you were obviously past college age. Yes.
I was 21, 22 when I came
Okay.
to US. And just because I didn't have an American license to be an American architect, I just decided to try something else. Me and my friend will open an art studio, so we become an artist, and then we being in designers, and then but still, I've been in this research. I've been digging deep, but eventually I realized this is my path. My journey is to uh, change myself internally, to get rid of fear, to get rid of limiting beliefs,
Hmm.
to uncover myself within. And then after my mom passed away, I started this journey. I had a lot of mentors. I visited a lot of countries, including Peru, and I met a lot of amazing people, including shamans, just heart centered people all around the globe. And a lot of those people just inspired me to move on and keep digging, digging, digging. And at some point of my life, I had so much knowledge inside of me, but I still were at the same stage. You know what I mean? When you carry all this library inside your head, inside
Right.
your heart, but you never apply it into your life. And that there was a moment when my vision shifted. I realized that no matter how much you know, if you're not using it, if you're not practice it, if you're not living this truth, it doesn't matter what you know. It's just knowledge.
Right. It's just stuff in your head, right?
Yes.
And it's what's the point? What's the purpose? What's the use? And so after going on these travels and acquiring all of this knowledge and reading books as well, is that do
Oh
you are
yeah,
you
it was
read?
it was a lot of books. It was a lot of again, psychological books. It was a lot of biographies of great people.
Mhm.
And there is a lot of scientists like whom I adore, like personally, for example, Joe Dispenza. I love
Joe Dispenza, yes.
Robin Sharma. I love Sadhguru. Vadim Zeland. It's a lot of Russian authors whom I've been like Crayon, a lot of channelings I've been going through. But again, I've been collecting that knowledge inside of me, but I was still on the same place. I was not moving further, right? And at some point in my life, I realized that enough, that's enough. I need to do something. I need to apply those practices, those vision into this life. And honestly, because I've been such a procrastinator most of
Mm.
my life, I probably reach, I get a master in that.
Professional procrastinator. Yes.
Yeah, I realize I start to I put my attention like, what is that? What's stopping me? What's stopping me from moving forward? And it was a lot of fear that came from the my childhood, right? A lot of
Mm.
procrastination was um, limiting me daily. So I start to take away those layers again and again. It's scary to look deep inside of your heart. It's really scary because it's a lot of mess what you can see there, and it's easier to not see that, right? What I
Right.
cannot see
Yes.
doesn't exist. So we playing this game constantly. We're pretending. We would think that those limitation they doesn't exist, but they not letting us to move forward. So once I saw them, I said, that's enough. And I start to use yoga. I start to meditate a lot. I start to change my daily habits. And that starts to the process of
Was there one thing, or what caused you to shift from you were seeking, you were gaining all of this knowledge and wisdom and information, and you said you were procrastinating. A lot of the procrastination was because of self-limiting beliefs or
or
fear of moving forward. Was there something that happened, or somebody that said something to you, or what like clicked or shifted for that to begin the time when you started doing these new habits and creating new disciplines?
there was like I said, I it was enough for me. I couldn't stand myself anymore. I've been internally, externally, no one could notice that, but internally, I was in pain. I was not enough. I was holding all this potential inside of me, and there was something was blocking me from my greatness. And
Mm.
that person was me. And I realized, or if or now or never, this is the moment. That's it. It was crystal clear for me. And to push myself to step on this path of tremendous internal transformation, it took a lot of my inner courage to push myself further.
And how long ago do you think that was when this began, or when you made this shift?
I think, Christoph, I think for every single person, this process is different. Absolutely.
Sure.
Because every person coming to this planet with a different program, with a different DNA, with a different blueprint, he going through different circumstances, and there is a different push, right?
Hmm.
And ahas that um, triggered person to step into on the transformational path. So for me, it was internal pain. It was internal suffering. It's hard to explain. When you understand that easier to not live than to not live at all than to exist, go
Wow.
through existence like this, you know. And then this is a time when you are uncovering your inner hero. And like we both know, when your mission become bigger than your fear, that's the biggest click taking place, right?
When your mission becomes bigger than your fear or your
Absolutely.
self-doubt or whatever it is. So let's talk about, there is a fear that you have very publicly mentioned and stepped into and faced and overcame. And I think it would be very inspiring for our listeners to hear that story. What is that fear that you are not alone in having, that in fact most people would put that towards the top of their list? If you want to share with us what that is all about.
Yes, it was a great opportunity, and I'm very grateful for this, Christoph, to you and to not just to you, but to all the team, because all those people who were part of.
So what was the, let's step back for a second. What fear did you have that recently you embraced and said, no more. I'm pushing through this. I'm making a decision. What is it? What was the fear? And then what did you do?
Fear of public speaking. It's
The
been all,
fear of public speaking.
yes, it's been always my fear, and for me, the cave was more safe. So as I always want to be on stage, I always want to deliver my messages, but this limiting belief that I was not enough, I was not good enough, I didn't have a perfect English, was stopping me from being part of this beautiful experience, right?
Mm,
Because this experience, we don't hold on, we don't know what we don't know. Before we try, we don't understand what we will expect, right?
true.
So I didn't know how that feel, so my brain, my mind was creating all these scenarios, that the way I'm passing out, people start to laugh, this and that. But fear is just an illusion of our mind. And we
True.
all have to understand this. And it doesn't matter, is it fear of public speaking, or fear of heights, or fear of water, or fear of darkness, or, it's just an illusion. And in order to overcome it, you have to face it.
You have to face it, not deny it, not turn away from it, not hide from it.
Yes, and if not now, then when? We have this illusion of time, right? We think that we tend to think that there is still 300 years, 500 years ahead of us, right? But the truth is, all we have is now. And
Right.
either we take in control over our life, our inner hero, our inner genius, and become the best version of ourselves, overcome every single fear that we able to face throughout our life. It's not just one, like fear of public speaking, it was just one of the fears that I have. Before, I had a fear of death because my mom passed away right on my hands. And what I started to do, I started to jump with parachute, I started skydiving.
Really?
Another, my greatest thing was, there was a series of people who died in my life from disease, and I had that fear of sickness, right?
Sickness. Wow.
Yes. And I thought, like, what, okay, there is cause and effect in everything. So if
Right.
I would have a better lifestyle, I can avoid those kind of ending, you know what I mean? But to have a better lifestyle, what do I need to have? I need to get rid of the habits. It's
Yes.
hard because those habits literally wire in our neurons. So you have to reprogram and rewire your neurological system inside your brain. And there is another thing. So see, the transformation, what I'm talking about, it uh, from coming from one point where you unhappy, you're not satisfied, you're limited, you conditioned, you're programmed, not just by society, not just by um, people around, by the country where you live, but from by your ancestral lineage,
Hmm.
from your parents, and to become someone who you always dreamed to be. And this someone, he's fearless or she is fearless. He under or she understand crystal clear what they came to earth for. Day by day, they go through this beautiful journey in enjoying the present, because it's literally all what we have today day. If you if you not make your today day the best day of your life, then what's the reason to live
Wow.
it all? And one more thing I want to talk about, and actually the war in Ukraine brought this last one off, the last pieces of puzzle into the my transformational process, right? Um, when we're talking about that, when we're talking about the end of our life, we don't understand what we're talking about. But when you see, when you feel, when you being a part of the process where people today they alive, tomorrow they dead, you understand how fragile is this moment.
Yes.
And there is nothing scary in this. It just, it's very inspirational. I mean, the whole mortality thing, right? We have to understand that tomorrow can never come. Either we use this chance today to become better version of ourselves, or we have to take responsibility that we were the one who denied this chance to
Mm.
be the best version of ourselves. Because no,
Wow.
yeah, no one right there um to make your life better. No one can guarantee you anything. The only person who can guarantee you great life is you.
Is you.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Wow, that's a lot of deep thoughts, Yana. First, I want to congratulate you, or I don't know if it's yeah, congratulate, because you should be extremely proud of yourself. If you didn't tell that story about how you had a fear of public speaking until just recently, nobody would know. When they listen to this podcast as you are speaking, yes, maybe it's different being interviewed, but it's still you're speaking and you're telling your story, you're sharing your wisdom, and you're an inspiration. I have a quote. I say that our highest calling is to use our gifts and service to others. And the world is waiting for you to heed the call, waiting for all of us to heed the call. And I think this is what you're talking about. That when so you came to the United States because you're a professional architect. That's what brought you here. Then you saw, because, as in many cases, professionals that come from another country, this happens in the medical field, in engineering, and architect, well, you are a professional in your country, but in the U.S. it's not acceptable. It's not applied. So you found a new opportunity. You took your mind and your training. Is I'm going to start something in the art field, and so you started an art studio and designing. But that was what I'm hearing, is that was a job and maybe a passion for a while, but it wasn't your main or your ultimate true calling. And then you go on this journey of traveling the world and meeting shamans and different leaders, and you begin to accumulate this knowledge and wisdom. And then you finally come to a point where you realize it's not just about learning the knowledge, it's now what are you going to do with it, and how are you going to show up, and how are you going to make an impact in the world. And you have a family, you have two children, correct?
I do.
You told me something recently about your son as you were preparing for this ultimate speaker competition. Would you
Yes,
like to share about that?
absolutely, absolutely. And I also want to add something. You know, I came to this country as an architect designer, but I literally become an architect of my life.
Wow.
I think we all are, and we have to understand this. So we put in this strong, solid found. We have to put this strong, solid foundation, but before that, we have to have a vision, right, of
A
it.
blue, yeah, and a blueprint, right? Of
Mhm.
what are you going to build? You
Yeah,
don't, when you're going to build a building or a house, you don't just say, well, we've got, some forms here and we've got some cement. Let's just go ahead and start building something. You
yeah,
have to have a vision and an outline of what that's going to be, right?
yes. And our kids are our job. Our job as a parents to not block them, to allow them to express their inner energy, their talents, and share them with the world. But most of the time, parents are those one who blocking and you know
Sure.
limiting the kids.
And a lot of times it's to protect, because in the mind of the parent, it's to protect them or
Oh,
something, right? They
oh,
don't do it intentionally, but continue. Yes, parents often are the ones that cause the blockage to
yeah,
begin with.
and I. I'm very thankful to my kids because at some point they become my greatest teachers. And I look
Mm.
at them, they're so pure, they're so energized, they're so smart, they're so kind. They have this, this pure divinity inside of them. And my reaction to their to different kind of situation when they misbehave, when they don't do what I ask them for, it's actually when I react a certain way, it's traumatized them.
Oh,
It's blocking their genius inside of them. So at some point I realized either I will go through this deep transformation inside and I'll grow and my kids will grow with me. We'll grow together. And this is important to understand that we are responsible as of right now, while they're still young, we're responsible for their light, their inner light. So my son, when I was preparing for a speakers ultimate speakers competition, he came to me and say, "Mom, you know what? It's inside of you, so you don't worry. You don't have this. You got this."
he's your speaker coach. I thought I was, but he's no. I'm kidding.
So, both of you. So
I'm kidding.
it's his thing. He's saying, "Mom, you're a butterfly outside and the angel inside. You got this. Just believe."
Wow, that's so
And
amazing.
another speech for 30-40 minutes, how I have to believe in myself. And it's been
He's
amazing.
giving he's giving you speeches. He's speaking to you
Yes.
to inspire and to empower and motivate you.
Yes. And
And how what is your son's name?
his name is Dominic. He's 8 years old.
8 years old. Wow, that's
And
amazing.
his dream is to become great inventor. My daughter, who is 11 years old, she was my inspirational coach for this competition. She said,
Mm.
regardless of anything you won already, because you're fighting your biggest fear." So it's, and I looking at them and think how wise, how kind, how smart they are naturally. All of the kids like this. But do we as an adult see that? Not
Mm.
always. I don't always see it because my life is so fast, not I'm not always I have time to step back, relax and observe. And that's what I teach in my clients, to give yourself a time and gentle and loving attention to step back and look at your life without judgment, just from the position of your higher self, and without analyzing, and judging like what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong, just see it, and whatever comes up, right? uh,
Are you still I had mentioned in your short bio that you're also a health certified health coach, is that correct?
yes,
And
yeah, because the habits, you see, I teach people how to eat. Nutritionists, they give more information about, the quality of food, but I'm, as a coach, I'm teaching people how to eat.
so can you give us a few little pointers that you might share with somebody to become so this is helping people. It's what I'm understanding is you're approaching the whole human, so you're helping with people's mindset and spiritual transformation, so that's the inner, but then there's also the physical, right? We have to be healthy in our body as well as our mind and our spirit. So maybe a couple of health for the body tips.
Absolutely. So to become who you want to become the greatest, the highest, the best version of yourself, you have to be connected to your body. This human vessel, what being given to you, this is the only thing what you're born with and go to another dimension with. And it depends how you taking care of this vessel, right? How you listen to this messages that it constantly every day given to you, what to eat, what to drink, when to sleep, how long to sleep, what kind of workout uh, does it need. So how what what is the maintenance for this particular vessel? And I strongly believe that every single human is absolutely unique, and approach my personal approach is very individual to everyone.
Okay.
The the mission of the soul is different, as well as the body is different. When we taking the food in every single day, right, we usually do it on rush. We don't think, I mean, we think about millions of different things while we're taking the food. We're not focused on the process. So it create complication in digestive process. So when you eat, you have to eat. When you sleep, you have to sleep. When you having rest, you have to be focused on having rest. And throughout our life, we're doing it all wrong. When we eat, we focus on we're thinking about millions of things what we have to do tomorrow or today. When we haven't
Or
rest,
we
we
sit in front of the computer
of course
eating our breakfast, right?
we not consciously eating,
Mm.
we're not consciously living, we're living unconsciously. And the importance of living consciously, the importance to of eating the conscious way, it gives us the benefits of living long healthy life, because this our body is this unique machine with, and no one gives us an instruction with the moment of birth how to use it, right? So we
That
have
is
to
correct.
figure it out all along the way.
Yes.
But for that, you have to have this desire to understand how this machine works. Okay, if I came to this planet, what I came to this planet for? Will I be use my time wisely and enjoy every moment of it? I'll be paying attention what I do, when I do, and how I do it. Or we're gonna live on autopilot. We're gonna waste our lifetime, and then eventually on a deathbed, we're gonna have this millions of regrets
Mm.
on what we didn't done yet, what we didn't feel, what kind of experience we didn't go through. It's an interesting process, but unfortunately, the only person have to go through is you. You have to be committed to go through this process. There is no one who gonna appear, including coaches, right? What I do, I just shine in the light on those aspects in yourself, what in a shadow, which are in a darkness, so you can see it and or fix whatever needs to be fixed.
So
But
when you are working with coaching clients, is there a particular type of person? Do you work only with women, or a certain age group, or who is a perfect client for you, and how do you find them?
Christoph, I'm gladly working with everyone who is ready, because when person is ready to be transformed, when is ready to change his life, this is already a 60-70% of success. Everything else is just a strategy. It's
Mm.
right steps in the right order. But when someone not ready to change his life, there is no one else there to convince them. It's for that particular reason. I think we all have to ask ourselves the right questions before we make a step further. Again, this question is, do I have what I want? Do I live the best life of my dreams? Is it something else right there, what's waiting for me, and I'm just not allowing myself to go and get it? And the transformation starts with these questions, and then it brings you to the mathematical progression of the questions, right? You ask one question, there's three answers. You ask like three questions, you get nine answers. And then at some point when person realized that he need accountability, he needs support, he need someone who will kick gonna kick in the butt when you fall off track, that's where I'm appeared in someone
I
life.
like it. And how do people, how would somebody, so somebody's listening and they say, yeah, I'm not where I want to be. Is there somewhere that I would like to be? Yes. Is there something that's holding me back? Yes. I don't know what it is, but I want to know and I'm ready to be committed to that. How do they find you?
I have a website, www.truepowerwithin.com.
True power
T
within
Yeah, TRUE, Power Within, P,
dot com. Okay.
or basically through the social media.
Yana Gotov, Yanagotov. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier about your children inspiring you and your mother before being a mentor. Who else or what else inspires you? Like,
I strongly believe that when student is ready, the teacher appears. So every single person on my path is my teacher
hmm,
and my inspirer.
yeah,
Because when you look at people who surrounds you and those people inspiring you, that simply because you have it within you. You just have to accept this truth. And this is something what you have to embrace. Again, when there is someone in your life who is irritates you, who's like make you kind of want to hide, it's also the greatest teachers. Those kind of people also my greatest teachers. I'm looking at them and think, what is that thing what irritates me the most in them? And then I know that I have it too.
hmm,
Do I want to have this kind of characteristic of me, or I need to work a little bit deeply on myself and eliminate it? So
wow,
basically, by answering your question, every single person in my life, which is like my closest friends, just people whom I know, random people whom I meet throughout the day, uh, the person in a Smith store who just had said hi to me and smile, they all inspire me. And there was a time in my life when I have those shores like a horses. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to see the truth. And right now, after all the years of my deep, deep, deep work, I'm very I'm very happy. I know it's still a long path. It's a long journey ahead. But as of right now, I can confidently say for the last 36 years of my life, it's been the happiest moments every single day because I finally learned how to enjoy
wow, that's
my
amazing.
how to enjoy and how to be grateful and how to appreciate um, bright moments as well as dark moments, how to extract the wisdom out of my failures, how to extract lesson from my fears, and how put them everything together and create the life what I want to have. So it's hard to explain the whole process in like 40 minutes, Christoph, but it's a magical process. And I think everybody consciously or unconsciously through the same journey. And you would agree with me on that.
Yes, yes. Uh, Very powerful, very enlightening. And for those that are watching and listening, if it strikes a chord and if it resonates with you, check out Yana's website, www.truepowerwithin.com. I'm sure that you will be having opportunities to see her on stages very, very soon, because I know that she's just launched her speaker journey, and I'm sure there is much more coming. Yana, can you fill in this sentence? My gift to the world is.
My gift to the world is to unlock myself and others and to extract that bright light within myself and people around the world.
Yana Gotov, ladies and gentlemen, originally from Ukraine, now living in Las Vegas, transformational coach, speaker, and shining light. Thank you so much, Yana, for spending time with us today. And we will see you again. This is Christoff J Weihman with It's Your Time to Shine podcast. And thank you and God
Thank
bless.
you so much.
See you soon.